Good evening, folks. Dr. Freedom here with the Times from Dr. News from in and around the universe that may or may not affect you in a strange, weird, psychedelic, and I don't know, psychosomatic? No, not really. No, not psychosomatic. Either way, it's going to make you feel good. Okay, we want to focus on the positive here, and it's kind of weird to do that. Given the times we live in, a lot of strange things going on out there. With viruses, socials, and the social disease. No, is COVID a social disease? I don't know. Look it up. It doesn't mean what you think it means. But socially distancing from that social disease. If only it was that easy back in the day. Yeah, you adult folks will know what I'm talking about. All right, but let's get to the news, shall we? Yeah, Billie Piper popped up, of course, on David Tennant's podcast this week, and a lot of people got weird and strange over that. Also, got COVID still running around, plus other weird things going on in the United States. And it's like, then to top it all off, we got an election going on. And it's like, people are like, Dr. Freedom, what do you think about it? I'll tell you what I think about it. I got two guys who are running to hold the nuclear football whose combined age is 150. I'm not joking. The one dude's 76 and the other dude's 74. What if the Alzheimer's out one day and suddenly, think that they're ringing for, room service and end up blowing up a frickin' nation because they, sent the nuclear launch code when they're actually ordering out for Taco Bell? You see what I mean? It just freaks me out. We should have an age limit. I'm not kidding. Here's two guys who should be, seeing who's going to get elected to get the tapioca pudding this week at the Sunnydale Rest Home. It just creepy, weird crap. I'm not kidding. There should be an age limit on president, man. It's just stinking weird how old you can be and take over a nation. But that's a whole political thing, and I'm not going to get into all that. Let's get into what I do have for you, all right? First off, in Magic Land. Now, for you folks who've been going on and on, Doctor Who can't be filming because they're in the COVID lockdown in Wales. Right here, filming of TV productions, film and TV productions can continue in Wales, including during the circuit breaker period, provided that they comply with the latest British Film Commission COVID-19 safety protocols or PAC Broadcaster safety protocols, and Film Cymru Wales, development agency for Welsh film and form variety. Now, in addition, productions are required to comply with the latest Welsh government guidance, which enables people who are not able to work from home, but those who are able to work safely in their workplaces can do so, and people who live in and around the Welsh or beyond the Welsh border can still travel to work in Wales and vice versa. It is considered a reasonable excuse. So for those folks who have been jumping up and down going, they can't do any filming. Yes, they can. It's right there in black and white. And this is variety, folks. This ain't like, the Sun or the Weekly World Mirror or whatever the thing is, it has Batchild and all that stuff in it. This is like an actual place here. This is actual, reputed distributive news. Or reputable. And I'm screwing up the English language really bad right now. Okay, but so just to give you a little heads up. All right, now, of course, we just talked about David Tennant, Billie Piper, reunited for a podcast. That's right. Billie Piper joined her Dr. co-star David Tennant in a podcast on October 20th. She spoke of her initial experience playing Rose Tyler opposite Chris Eccleston's Ninth Doctor while filming Doctor Who. Quote, I didn't grow up with Doctor Who, and then actually when we started making it, everyone said it was going to be a failure. So you just didn't imagine it being, on for more than 3 months. Imagining that 15 years later, it's still probably the biggest job you'll ever have done, and you'll still be talking about it and going off and meeting people and celebrating it. That was a big reach. Now, Tennant spoke of his experience joining Piper, filming her second series after it became a big hit. He said, quote, we were surrounded by crowds there were people buzzing around wherever we went, or bundled into cars and whisked into places through the back door and chased by photographers. It was the closest I ever felt to imagining what it must be like to being a pop star. So some nifty little stuff they discussed here, in this podcast. So if you want to give this a quick read through, take a look at it, or it says down here, if you're You can listen to this conversation on the latest episode of David Tennant Does a Podcast With, and here's a link that will take you to it. So if you want to go listen to that, it sounds like it would be an interesting time. There you go. All right, Jodie, Whittaker, and Mandip Gill share Doctor Who monster stories. They sat for a video interview to promote Doctor Who The Monster Vault, a new book by Jonathan Morris, Penny C.S. Andrews, Lee Johnson, and Paul Lang, published by Penguin Random House. They share laughs and chills when discussing their experiences filming with Doctor Who monsters. And, of course, they mentioned that evil Pating, you know, the creature that destroyed Doctor Who, you know, kind of like, you know, Jodie Whittaker's accused of. To me, it's like it was a gimmick. It was like kind of like the Gremlins. It wasn't the best episode in the world. It wasn't the worst episode in the world because I've seen far worse. Watch Time Lash or Happiness Patrol. Oh, but then again, judgment varies. Some people really like those episodes. Oh, God, Love and Monsters. And there's people who hold it up as the greatest thing since, well, I ain't going to say sliced bread. The Pyramids? I'm not kidding. People really worship that thing. But so here you go. I thought he was a cute little craphead, you know. Interesting little bit there. And they go into their stories about the various monsters and law that they've encountered here. Okay, moving forward. Bly Manor starts tonight. Miller explains why Doctor Who was a hard job. You're dying for a piss. Okay. Now, for you folks who don't remember who Tanaya Miller is, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, she played that guy. Well, that was a guy who became her, you know, the general dude. You know, across that thing. She goes, that was a hard job. You get a half hour for lunch, and it takes 15 minutes from the studio to the trailer. Then they have to take you out of your costume. Well, they had to take me out of my costume. So you're dying for a piss, and you can't. Good job, I've got bladder control. Then you get 5 minutes to eat because you got to be back on set again, and it was a whirlwind. So, and she also mentioned she grew up with Doctor Who. It was a groundbreaking because it was the first time we'd seen another Time Lord metamorphose into another person, you know, as the Doctor does, and she was going to be female. So she was going to be a black female. So that was super exciting for me. It was great to see a Dalek, and she goes into all that stuff. So it's nice to see that she was also a fan, you know, before she even got, you know, landed this small role. Plus, if you ever get a chance, Haunting of Bly Manor is not all that bad. I enjoyed it myself. There are a few parts, though, where it kind of does drag out a bit, so you got to be patient with it, but it does pay off a bit in the end, okay? All right, Collection of Doctor Who Adventures in Lockdown is coming, and a lot of people already know about this. Of course, Penguin Random House publishing Adventures in Lockdown, and it's the collection of stories written, you know, by Doctor Who writers in response to COVID-19 in aid of BBC Children in Need. And here's that list again of the folks who are involved in this. So be sure to go check this out. Here's also a list of the titles and the authors. And as like I said, it's really nice to see that so many and great creative things came out of the lockdown period. Me, I played Fallout for 2 months. Boy, do I suck. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That's what I did. I finished Fallout. I went through all the DLCs, including Far Harbor. Even got to the point I was looking. I put a couple in that were, you know, player created, and they were pretty good. But see what I mean? So at least they did something positive, you know, in the light of this whole mess. And speaking of doing things positive, Karen Gillan's sci-fi Duel starts production in Finland with Aaron Paul and Beulah Koale. I'm sorry, Beulah Koale. And I'm sorry if I'm screwing up the name. I really am. It's just I had an Aunt Beulah, so when I see that, I think Beulah. All right, so maybe I'm screwing that name up really. I hope I'm not, but okay. And this story centers on a woman, Karen Gillan, who opts for a cloning procedure after she receives a terminal diagnosis and is court-martialed to a duel to the death then when she starts to recover. So, interesting concept. Like I said, you know, Karen Gillan, always busy, always out there, always working. And, of course, Matt Smith out back cleaning her pool house and cleaning her pool. All right. Michelle Ryan is, of course, coming back as Lady Christina D'Souza for another series of audios for Big Finish. I don't give a damn. Sorry, that's me. I couldn't get into it. I tried. But for other people, you know, I loved her character on screen. It's just I couldn't get into her on audio for some reason. But maybe you will, okay? Give it a shot if you want. I'm not putting Big Finish down. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And I'm not going to lie to you. But there she is, the lovely Michelle Ryan. So if this is your thing, go check it out. All right, and that's all I had for today. So once again, folks, lots of weirdness going on out there. Remember, COVID's still running around. Please be careful. Like I said, I'm sorry I'm kind of a mess, but I had to work today, and we got a lot of things going on here at the homestead. I've been playing around just with some, cheap green screen effects, just to, I kind of had the equipment sitting there. I had some time off last week, and I eventually got to break all this crap down because even though I do like the studio lighting and all that, it takes up a lot of room. I'm not kidding. Those weird light setups, and I bought this whole setup, including this green screen, the frame, the studio lights, for under like $90. It was like $99 when I got it, and I've seen this kit get it all goes down into one little duffel bag. So if you see that drifting around, it's not a bad setup to play around with. Well, folks, I got to get going. So please take care of yourselves and each other. And I know I stole that line from, what's his name? That weirdo who did that one show. But it makes sense. Please. Just live good lives. Have a good one. Take care.